All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. This one here is going to be the 1965 f-unhundred again. And today what I'm trying to do, I was hoping to get a lot more done, but this is where I'm at. What I am trying to do today is I'm trying to get the new seat in, and while I have taken the seat out and putting the newer seat in, I'm installing the powered subwoofer into the floor. So two things at once at this point. However, I was hoping to get a lot further than this, but this is where I'm at, because I had plans of getting back up here and getting all this wiring kind of cleaned up today. I just don't think I'm going to quite make it today, but anyway, here's where we're at. Okay, so this is the old seat right here. It is a fold down GM style seat. I did not know until today, no joke, that it had adjustable seat tracks. However, I did try to use it, and this wire here is so loose actually that it doesn't really pull. So it would have to be yeah, you can see somebody stretched it right there. It would have to be tightened up a little bit or something in order to get that thing to release the passenger side. But anyway, it has an adjustable track that I didn't even know until today, after I got it out and looked underneath there and said, oh, I'll be damned, there's the handle right there. But as you can see, it's just a seat foam, no springs or anything. You can see that it's really starting to break up. Over here on the driver's side, it really sinks really bad actually. When I sit down in there, it drops down a really good amount of way actually. I mean, I drop about 3-4 inches, so I feel really short when I'm over on the driver's side. And then when I go sit on the passenger side, it seems to be a heck of a lot better, although you can still tell that it is a little bit iffy as far as like it's starting to break down. So anyway, old General Motors seat. I believe this sucker here was about 58 inches wide, and this is what I got now. Okay, so what is this? This is a passenger van seat. Some guy on Facebook, he put these out for sale. So he had the rear seat, the very back one, and he had all these other intermediate seats that are in between the very back one and the front of the van. Okay, they came out of a 1993 and a 1996 van, passenger van. And what he did was there was one that was like a darker blue, and then there was these gray ones, and the gray ones are in much better shape. So I don't know if that was just, you know, I don't know which year it came out of, but it was one of them, and it has the seat belts in them. They're not connected right now. I'll show you that here in a second. But anyway, this is one of the intermediate seats. So the back seat was 62 inches wide, I think it was. It was just way too wide. I measured door to door. I had the window open on the driver's side, and it was just going to be way too tight. I didn't want to risk it. And this one here was 54. So I have lost basically 4 inches over that one there. Also, as you can tell, that one is a folder, but I've always had difficulty getting that thing to fold. You have to really jerk it, lift it, all that kind of stuff before it finally decides to fold. This is a non-folding seat. This will not fold. And it has no adjustable seat tracks. As you can see there, I started welding down there to mount this thing in there. So you're asking me, how come you're putting something that is probably less comfortable, no folding seat, and no adjustability to it? Why are you putting that in here? Well, again, that seat is actually uncomfortable, and it's sinking really bad, and it needs to be recovered, and I could reuse it. However, I do have plans to basically get a whole different seat altogether. I just don't want to spend that $600,000, whatever I'm going to be spending to recover it, etc., etc. This dude had these seats on there for $25 a piece. 25 bucks. And as you can see, they're very clean. At least this one is. Has some seat belts with it. Yeah, it was a no-brainer, really. Yes, it's a little bit narrower but I took it and I put it inside there. And yes, it just, like I said, it is narrower, but I don't really notice it. For me, it does exactly what I want to do. So, all right. So how did I do this? Well, I took this seat here and I placed it inside here with the entire brackets that were down on the bottom. So basically it's one of them type of seats that slip in and you lock it down with this lever here. And here's the bottom assembly of it right here. And you can see I've cut it apart to use, like for example, I thought this was metal in here. It's not. Where the heck are those things at? Oh, there they are. They're actually like a foam rubber or something. So this is what probably keeps them from squeaking, I guess. But then this one back here, this area back here is steel, is metal. And you can see I've actually cut it and everything. Again, trying to use some of those pieces over here. And I'll show you that right now. So, what I did, there, now you can see the hook pattern. So actually that was a really thick, nice big old thick plate there. So I just cut that sucker out of those brackets back there that you just saw and made them work. They already had holes drilled in them, and I just made it work. Same with these right here. This is also a part of, you know, those brackets over there that I had cut apart. I was just basically using the metal. I was basically cutting the metal from those brackets right there to reuse over there. So I don't have to go buy any metal, make anything, nothing. Because I had the holes already. All I had to do was just cut them off, clean them up a little bit, stick them up there, weld them on. That's what I did. Oh, and you can see that this seat actually has a spring cage underneath there. So yes, it has the foam, but it has the actual wire cage with the springs and everything. So it's much more supportive. And again, you can see these are not actually connected. I will, this thing never had seat belts to begin with, and it's not even required by law really. But I will get those things mounted into the floor at some point, just not right this second. So, you can see I welded those in there and painted them with a little bit of black that I got. I just use flat black because I have a whole bunch of that. Okay, so coming back over here, again you can see how this was the bottom like this, and you can see how I cut them suckers off there. I put it back in there, and it was still a little bit too high, so took it back out and I trimmed off another 3/4 to 1 inch right there. So I trimmed it down even further, got it to where I liked it, cut the metal plates out with the holes already, drilled holes into the floor and mounted that seat. Okay, so what did I do here? Well, so this is the holes here for the GM seat right there. So they just drilled some holes in there, and all they did was just put a nut on the back side. That's it. So being in a wreck or something like that with seat belts, this thing here would have ripped out through the floor easily. All right, here's the factory Ford seat tracks set up with 8 bolts, and one of the bolts is broke off over there inside that nut. When I go to take this thing completely apart to swap over to that frame, that is when I'm going to actually go and buy a nice seat that I want, get the proper tracks, and I'm going to be reusing these right here. I'll just end up welding them holes shut, is basically what I'm going to end up doing. And then of course this fuel tank won't be in here. This fuel tank will be gone, and this is where I might even put on my 1978 F-100, F-150. I had my 12s back here, so I might put my sub box back in here, but for now I'm using the 8-inch powered kicker woofer is what I'm using. So alrighty, so I went ahead and re-drilled some more holes. Now this one here is just into the metal floor here. This one goes into the metal floor plus that cross member that goes across, which is in line with this right here. So that's why I strategically drilled right there, so I could get 2 pieces of metal to grab onto when I go, and then this area right here gets a huge flat washer, like a fender washer underneath there in the back. Again, don't have seat belts hooked up yet, but if I do, I'm not going to hook them to the bottom of the seat brackets like they did from the factory. I'm actually going to put a piece of metal all the way across the floor there and grab into that. That's how I plan to do it. Okay, so that is the seat. So if you want to know if this will fit inside your 65, 66 F-100, you know, the passenger van seats, which seem to be available pretty cheap most of the time, no, it won't direct fit. You're going to have to do some work, and I did some work today with, again, the intention of just replacing this piece of junk, which I didn't even know had adjustable tracks that don't even work anyway, and the saggy feeling is done. Now I'm sitting nice, a lot higher. By the way, I'm 6 foot tall, long-legged, and I can reach the clutch pedal and everything with that sucker right there all the way up against the back of the tank. I mean, there are some people that, you know, really complain about how picky they are with the seat. Dude, this is a 1965 truck. I don't get too picky. I mean, I want to be somewhat comfortable, yes, but I don't get that crazy. I got it all the, I mean, that seat over there was all the way pretty much up against the tank, even though it has an adjustable track, but it was up against the tank. I remember, because when I pulled the seat forward, I could see that. And yeah, I was able to basically reach the clutch pedal and all that kind of stuff easily. Perfect for me, actually. The biggest issue is the 17-inch steering wheel, which this thing's got manual steering, so that's the reason why I got a 17-inch wheel. Now, when I go to power steering, I'm going to go back down to a 13 or a 14, and that will help a lot about sliding in and out right here. I will admit it's a little tight because I did leave it a little taller than that one, just to make sure that I get to see, and I was also trying to pay attention to, you know, not hitting my head up here, so it was a balancing act. Like I said, I had it where I thought it was perfect, and then I realized I'm just a little too tall, so I ended up trimming off another 1 inch, and it seems to be a lot better. And I also angled it just a little bit to where the front of the seat is tipped down a little bit more. And that was just a personal preference thing. Alright, so there you go. That's what I got as far as that seat. I'll be putting that in here with help my son here in a minute. But before we go, the kicker. So, I bought this on eBay, refurbished, authorized remanufacturer or something like that. So I don't even know if it works or not. But the straps that they sent me were the wrong ones. They're too long. They could not go through this buckle here and then back over on top into the Velcro. So I basically ended up cutting these straps myself, and then bending, you know, measuring and bending them over and using epoxy glue to glue them together. Plus, there's some screws that actually go through. It's got like a really nice big flat washer with a like a taper head screw that goes down into, you know, to this right here, this strap, and that washer really pinches that, and there's 4 of them, right? And that's what holds this thing in. So the cool thing is, because according to the instructions, this thing should be short enough to where you could, you know, put it down, screw it, and then loop it through, but it was way too long. This thing here would literally wrap around and almost come back all the way, but not quite enough to, you know, make it to the buckle. So I had to cut it for sure. But my point is that now I've got a double strap down here, where before, if it were factory and it actually fit, you would have, you know, just one layer of strap, basically like this right here, right there, down there with that screw through there. Well, because I had so much extra. I just bent it over, looped it through the buckle here, put some epoxy glue on it, and so from here all the way over actually to about there is a double layer of straps, so it's really pinched down by that big old flat washer and those screws that go in there. So it's really durable down there, and you can see here it's pretty solid, you know. I mean, it's not really going to go anywhere. You kind of move just a slight bit, but I guess you can expect that with the strap. I mean, I got this thing as tight as I can get it, and it'll probably stretch a little bit here with some use, and I'll probably have to retighten it or whatever. But that was the other reason why, actually, honestly, why I was trying to keep the seat a little higher, because this seat over here, there was no way that I was going to get that kicker unit underneath this. This was too low. I would have to cut this out, or I'd have to just take the whole seat out, put it in, and then put it back. But this is actually going to hit that kicker unit, because that thing sits right about here, and it was going to hit the top of this. And that was the other reason why I was like, you know what, you got that seat foam failing you, and the seat's really not even original to the truck, as far as it's a GM product, which that don't really bother me, but the cross member, you know, is going to hit. So I said, screw it, let's take it out, especially after I saw that one for $25. Could not go wrong there, and it's the fabric is way better shape, and the seat cushion, all of it, you can see kind of rippled right there and sagging and bagging. Yeah, that thing is nice and tight, perfect shape. So there you go. Thanks for stopping by. You have now seen what I have done with that seat right there. When I get it in, I might do a real short video, maybe in conjunction with something else. But today what I was hoping to do, like I said, is get the seat in, get that mounted, and then I was actually hoping to get up here and actually kind of twist that a little bit, get another piece of paneling here, go from here to there, kind of, you know, go up to there, screw into that, make a side for it. I've got an actual cooling fan that I'm going to put on this side right here, blowing in, and then drill some holes on the other side and let it vent right straight through. Also, one thing that I'm already disappointed with is this right here. This is a digital voltmeter with a charging, but I got plenty of charging right here, as you can see. I'm going to take this one right here, I'm going to take it out. That one there reads over a half a volt too high. By the way, this is going to be my cooling fan for this, to keep this booster equalizer cool. That's what that's going to be. So I can turn it off maybe in the winter when I don't really need it, and definitely have it on in the summer when it's needed. But anyway, yeah, that reads over a half a volt. In fact, 0.7 at its worst, I've seen. Way too high. And I contacted the seller, and they said, yeah, we can give you another one, but we can't guarantee that it'll actually be accurate. And I was like, well, that's stupid. Why? I mean, you know, what's the point, right? But I guess Chinese shit that they make, which, you know, I'd like buy something from America if I could find it, but I doubt I could. Anyway, I've always had this digital little gauge right here, though. You can see that one there, and that one is always accurate. Yeah, look at that. 12.5, yeah, 12.5 and 11.9. Yep. So that really sucks, dude. That really sucks. I did put a fluke meter, two of them, on here, and it was balls on accurate with that one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this right here, and I'm going to make, because now I'm going to have a circle here. I'm going to have to make something, I don't know what yet, probably another little piece of square paneling to glue on it, and then cut it out nice and rectangular, put that sucker in there. I mean, I could leave it right there, but it'd be just nice to have it up there, which I was really going to leave this here and take that one off, but now that that one there's the accurate one, it's going to go up there. So that's what's going on here. And let's see, maybe tomorrow I can probably get a little bit more done. But until then, look at this. I got a mess to clean up, and I got a seat to put back in. All right, again, like, subscribe, rumble if you're over on Rumble, which you should be. And we'll see you next time on the next edition of 65 F-unhundred.